Well, hey there, City Hills. I hope you guys are having an incredible week so far. Listen, we wanted to take a few minutes to share with you the direction we believe God is calling us to over the rest of this year. I know we've been doing a lot of monthly updates of how we're going to do, but we believe God has given us some clarity on what He wants us to do as we navigate the rest of this year. And honestly, for us, we've been praying for that. For the last several months, we've been really going to the Lord saying, hey, there's two things we really need. We need clarity and we need consistency. Because I don't know about you, but the last year has felt like there's absolutely been no rhythm to anything that we've been doing. It's just been too much for all of us. Even for our kids, you can just feel that struggle of not having some kind of consistency. So that's what we've been praying for. And the Lord really started pushing back on us, and He challenged us. And we felt like He was asking us this question: what's most important to you? Is it to have more services, or is it to make more disciples? And as we've been wrestling with that question, we realized that the thing that we were trying so desperately to do is to have more services and meet more times in person and put all of our resources into doing that, because it felt like that's the easiest way for us to help connect with people. But what the Lord has shown us and what we've experienced over these last several months is that true discipleship happens outside of just a Sunday morning service. And so the Lord has really been dealing with us about that. And honestly, we've pushed back a lot. And we're like, God, I don't know if we're ready for that. I don't know. And he's finally just giving us enough space to go, God, we're going to trust you with this. We're going to step out in faith and make this happen. And honestly, for us, this is less to do with COVID and more to do with our calling. The direction that we're going to be heading as a church has less to do with, well, COVID blew up the world. And at first, that's what it felt like. But the more we started to dig in and realize, hey, God's doing something in our country. God's doing something in the Big C church. God's doing something really unique. We feel like we're tapping into and getting into the flow of what He's actually doing. So this is what church is going to look like for us for the remainder of this year. And this doesn't mean this is what we'll do forever, but this is what we believe God is calling us to for this year. The first thing that we're going to be doing is that we'll continue to have online services. Online services will happen every single Sunday, 10 a.m. But one of the really cool things that we'll do is that starting this Sunday, we're actually going to open up a Zoom chat room that will be there for about 15 to 20 minutes after service. And that'll just be an after party for us to hang out together. For those of you who may need prayer, for those of you who want to talk about that challenge that we get every week, one of the cool things that has happened because of COVID is that we have people from all over the nation that's watching. And so we wanted to create a digital space where those people can come together and we can meet with each other and chat and pray for each other. And again, it's probably going to be about 20 minutes. We're not going to be there for hours and hours on end. It's just a chance for us to see some faces and get some prayer if we need some prayer or whatever that is. Just have that space where we can connect together on Sunday mornings. The other piece of the puzzle is that we will be having once a month in-person gatherings. We'll come together, we'll be in the sanctuary space, we'll be social distance to make sure everybody's safe and do all of those things, but we'll have a time of worship and we'll have a time of prayer, because Lauren and I in this season have done more counseling and more connecting with people who are walking through things in the last 6 months than probably we have our entire ministry. Like, God has been doing some really incredible things in people's lives. And so we wanted to make sure that we create a space where we encounter God, where we worship Him, where we have the prayer team here, where you can pray over your specific needs. But also, one of the elements that we feel like is important to us and important to the church as a whole is that we take communion together. So once a month, we'll have that. And I'm excited to let you know that we're going to be kicking off our very first in-person service in this new format on March 21st. So just a couple weeks from now, we're going to be here back in church again, having that time on March 21st, and we're really excited about it. The other part that I want to make sure that you put on your calendar, and it may feel obvious to you, but just making sure you know, is that we will have an Easter service that's in person. So April the 4th, we'll have in-person services. On our website, it'll be updated in the coming weeks to reflect all of the dates. We've got the majority of the in-person gatherings set in our calendar, and we'll be getting some resources to you to make sure that you always know when that once a month service is going to happen. The other piece of the puzzle, and this is the part that we feel like, because we have limited time and limited resources and limited ability to connect with people in this season, is that we want to create some intentional spaces to do discipleship. And so how we're going to do that is there will be a once a month men's discipleship city group and a once a month women's discipleship group. And these will happen on separate weeks. Eventually, we'd like to get back to doing group studies together. We love getting to do that part of it, but we feel like with all of the moving pieces in your schedule and in your life and with kids and bedtimes and bath times and all of those things, doing it separate always gives a space for the family to be able to be a part of that. So the men's group would happen on one week, the women's group would happen on a separate week, and we believe that God is going to do some incredible things in that. We're going to be walking through some curriculum that we actually developed with some other resources and some people in the church that they've written some other resources as well. And it's a 6-month discipleship program where we truly discover who we are in Christ. We deal with some important conversations of how we can live out our faith, about how we can share our story. And the reality is that God hasn't called us to just be church members. God has called us to be disciple makers. And so we want to be able to give you the spiritual resources that you need to be able to become pastors in your workplaces and pastors in your neighborhoods, for you to become a disciple maker. But first, it starts with us becoming disciples. So we're so thrilled about this. We're pouring a lot of time and energy and resource into this. And so we believe that you're going to absolutely love this. And we're going to kick it off starting in April. It'll happen at our house. We'll give you all the details that you need. It'll be right here in Santee. We'll eat some food together. We'll hang out, but we'll also dig into this and have some really important conversations. The last piece of the puzzle that I want to make sure that you know is that once a month, at least, if not more times than that, we'll be having some kind of outreach project. You guys know the vision of City Hills Church is to encounter God, to love people, and to discover purpose. What we want to do and create as much space as we possibly can to love people. And so we've been in touch with the Santee Food Bank. We've been in touch with some local businesses. We've been in touch with the city itself. We're looking at as many ways as we possibly can be connected to our city to share the love of Christ. Because the reality, a lot of times churches, they say, oh, we want to be a part of your life, but you've got to come to us. Come to our building, come to our services, come to our events, and then you can get to know us. And we want to flip that on its head and say, hey, we're going to be in the community, involved in what you're doing, and be able to share the love of Christ as we're doing that. And so we're excited about that. There'll be plenty of opportunities for us. One of the other pieces of it that you can help us is that we want to do some individual work as well. We want to be able to connect with some families that maybe they had an accident at their home, or a storm came through, or there's a leak in the roof. We want to be able to partner with families like that we can get a team of volunteers together to go and help repair something at their home, to build a space for their kids because there's 5 or 6 kids trying to do homeschooling there. Like, we want to be a part of people's lives in that way as well. And the only way that we ever find out about those things is if you tell us. And so we're so excited for us to be able to create some avenues for you to share with us some ways that we can connect with people in your life and that we can share the love of Jesus in their lives. And so we're so excited about this. Honestly, we're nervous, and it feels really different, and it feels like, this is a little different than what I kind of expected, but we believe that God is going to do something incredible. We feel like he's going to build a foundation of people who have been discipled, a group of 50, 60, 70, 100 people who have walked through this process together. And the Lord is building a foundation because God has called you not only to be a disciple, but to be a disciple maker. And we want to be a part of that process with you. We feel like it's our responsibility to take the limited time, the limited resources, the limited connection that we have, and make sure that we're equipping you to be exactly who God has called you to be, to equip you to be able to live out the purpose that the Lord has placed on your life. And we just want to be a resource and be a part of that mission with you. If you guys have any questions, you know that we're here. Reach out to us, share with us. We'll continue to do some more of these things as we shift into this new direction as a church. But make sure you're marking your calendars for March 21st and April the 4th for our in-person gatherings. And we believe He's beginning a new work within us. And we believe that it's going to be something that absolutely changes our church, but absolutely changes the fabric of our city. We love you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for trusting us through this season. And thank you for believing in the vision that God is placing on our hearts. We believe that God is going to do something truly incredible. We love you guys. Have an incredible week.